All right, I'm answering the question, how to make croutons. Now, you probably say, oh, that's pretty easy to do, and it is, but there's a few little tricks that make your croutons better than other people's, okay? First, we're going to make 4 different kinds of croutons out of 2 different kinds of bread, okay? We're going to start with some really basic sandwich bread, which is frozen, okay? You want it frozen because it's easier to cut. You don't want that really soft, spongy bread because it just doesn't cut that well. So I froze this loaf of bread, and let's pull a few pieces out. And first, the classic square crouton, okay? These are going to be fried in clarified butter. Now, if you have a problem with that, and you don't want to have that kind of fat in your crouton, which I hope you do, just don't eat a lot of them, that's all, because they taste so good. But more importantly, this particular lesson needs to cover that, because it could very easily be the best tasting crouton you'll ever have. So the first thing you do is you cut the crusts off the side of the bread. Now the next thing you do is you say, how big do I want my croutons? Here's what I would suggest. We cut this standard sandwich-sized Pullman bread into 4 by 4 slices, okay, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do the same thing again. That's one size, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. This size is like kind of suited for like a Caesar salad, okay? Although some people make them gigantic for Caesar salad. I think these are big enough. All right, so there's one size. Now here's another size. Same kind. We'll do it as a 6 by 6. And if you're using the crouton as more of a petite garnish on something, like maybe you're putting it on grilled asparagus with a little bit of orange sauce or something, and you want to put a few little croutons in, and you don't want them real big, this would be the time to make the small crouton. You can only make the small crouton with frozen bread. Otherwise, you crush the bread. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on now. See how nice, perfectly square they are? All right, there's another size right there. It's kind of smaller. Now, what I was thinking is that, let's see if we can take our star cutter, or whatever shaped cutter you want to use. Let's see if we can make a couple of star croutons here, which I know we can. See there? Now you want to put that on top of your salad. That ought to get everybody all awakened. They're cute and they're fun. Let's make 4 of them, you know? Again, you got to have frozen bread to do this. Okay, there we got some stars. And finally, your classic round French bread slice. Which is what we use for French onion soup, or I like to put this, French onion soup that has cheese on it and it's baked, that kind of French onion soup. But I like to use the round croutons to put in a soup plate of hot soup too. They're very nice. So, you don't want them too thick, and as I will show you, you don't want to fry them too crisp. If you fry them too crisp, then they get hard. And you want a little bit of soft bread in the middle of these croutons especially, because you have a lot of crust here, and the crust is going to get hard. Unlike these, this is all crumb, and this is crust and crumb, and the crust gets hard faster. Okay, so now we got half a dozen of those. All right. Next, I'm going to take you over to the stove here. We're going to fry them in some clarified butter, put them on paper towels, season them with a little bit of salt and pepper. And depending on what you want to do with them, you can even toss them in Parmesan cheese and stuff while they're still warm and chop parsley and so on. We're not going to do that, though, but you could. So let's go over to the stove here and fry them. Okay, the frying of the croutons. Hot clarified butter, but not too hot. Let's try the stars first. Now, remember, you want your bread to be frying at it. You don't want it boiling in the grease, okay? And in the case of the stars, I say you want them not completely crisp either. You don't want the points browning on you and not the rest of it, which is what will happen. So I'm turning them over. You see? 1, 2, 3, 4. These don't take very long, and you have to monitor it and stay on it, okay? And I'm taking these out. Okay, now the grease is still nice and hot. Let's do the French slices. We got 6 of those. I'm going to turn this down a little bit now. It's starting to smoke a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to cook them too fast. But this particular piece of bread, like I said, you want the inside of the bread to be a little bit soft still. So, depending on how hot it is, you can do this pretty quick. Done, 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 done. Look at me. They look good, don't they? They are good. This is one of the best croutons you'll ever eat. Okay, that's... All right, we're taking them out. And any residual clarified butter you got left over, you can put it away and use it for frying croutons some other time. That's what I do all the time. All right, now, while it's still hot, but it's not too hot, I turned it down. It's down to medium right now. Let's do all the big ones, all in one shot. Boom. See how quick those are frying? This is, we got the butter at just the right temperature. If you end up boiling your croutons in butter that's not hot enough, they're going to be all greasy. These aren't going to be greasy when we're done with them, see? Okay, these are coming out. One way to get them out is to scrape them out of the fat up this way so they stop frying while you're taking them out. You see what I mean? And while the fat is still all nice and hot, we're going to fry the little ones, and they fry faster, so you got to be careful with these. Because there's less bread. See how quickly those are browning in there? Turning it up again just a little bit, real quick. This last 30 seconds to a minute here. Okay, this one in particular, you want to get them out as quickly as you can when they're done because they cook faster and faster than the other ones are so small. If you haven't had a crouton fried in clarified butter, you haven't had a crouton yet. That's what I say. All right. Let's take it over to the table and throw a little salt and pepper on it, and it's a wrap. Now, just sprinkle it with salt and pepper and you're done. These are great croutons. Enjoy them. You're going to love them.